Renowned author J.K. Rowling, known for bestsellers like Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, emphasized in an interview that literature isn't a competition. She believes our choices reveal our true selves more than our abilities, a philosophy rooted in her own journey from adversity to fame and wealth. Before her success, Rowling faced significant challenges. Today, I'll share a story that became a global sensation, touching millions of hearts within days of its emergence. It's a powerful illustration of how individuals, starting from equal footing, can diverge drastically based on the choices they make. But before we delve into that, let's set the stage. In 2015, a very unusual meeting took place in a Miami, Florida courtroom. Judge Mandy Glazer was presiding over the case of a man arrested for theft. Just days earlier, a man named Arthur Booth had been apprehended by police officers as he was driving his car, attempting to evade law enforcement. His car had been reported missing after a robbery. During the chase, Booth tried to evade several times before having an accident and crashing his car. Afterward, he tried to run from the guards on foot but was soon caught. This courtroom trial was no different from any other. Judge Mandy Glazer was in her sitting position after reviewing the case file. Opposite her stood the criminal, Arthur Booth, who was far from the first time he had met in a courtroom, having served time in prison several times before. Unwavering and with a cold stare, Arthur looked confidently into the eyes of the judge, showing with all of his appearance that he was not afraid at all and was no longer afraid of anything. Perhaps the verdict would have ended and everyone would have gone their separate ways. The judge would have gone home after work and Arthur would have gone back to prison. But what happened next made the defendant weep like a baby. Unexpectedly, the judge asked the defendant an irrelevant question. "Did you go to Nautilus for middle school?" After these words, the defendant changed his face and began to look intently into the facial features of the judge. The prosecutors and the defendants began to look at each other, not understanding what was going on. Arthur looked at the woman for a few more seconds, then uttered these words, "Oh my God, this can't be. My God, I'm so embarrassed." After which, the defendant, who had stood there a few moments before with a confident look, bowed his head before the judge and expressed his confusion about the circumstances of their meeting, began to cry, rubbing his hands over his eyes, repeating the same phrase, "My God." As it turned out, at that moment, Arthur recognized in the judge his old acquaintance, after which he lost his temper and burst into tears. As it turned out, more than 30 years ago, he had a completely different life. Like many teenagers, Arthur had dreams of a successful career. His outstanding abilities in math and science made him one of the best students in school, and not just any school, but the Nautilus School, which in the late 70s was not only prestigious, but considered one of the best in Miami. Arthur was selected to attend Nautilus High School after achieving outstanding grades at William Brent Elementary School. His parents were happy about the boy's ability. As the eldest of 3 children in the family, he simply burned with learning and even dreamed of becoming a neurosurgeon. Arthur strived to study, learn Spanish on his own, and achieve outstanding grades. Coming from a simple, poor family, he traveled to school by bus for almost an hour and later became an honorary student. It seemed that this gifted boy was destined for college and a successful career. It pained Judge Glazer doubly to see Arthur before her. "This is the nicest kid in middle school," Mandy later said in the courtroom. "He was the best kid in middle school. I used to play football. The last time I saw Arthur, I was just a little girl with a baby face. I too had ambitions and wanted to be a veterinarian. But all that was nothing compared to Arthur. He was the best student and I admired him. And now I look at him and I don't understand how that could have happened. Look what happened to you, Arthur." The judge turned to the defendant. Arthur could not contain his emotions. The whole time, the desperate criminal sobbed and covered his face with his hands. It so happened that 35 years later, the 2 classmates met in the courtroom, where one was the judge and the other on the bench, who had just been released from prison a few months earlier. As Arthur's sister later told us, at the age of 17, our honor student got addicted to gambling. At first, it started out like many others, playing cards for small change. Then the stakes got bigger and bigger, and there wasn't enough money. Arthur chose the wrong company and later got into debt. Depression and anxiety prompted our hero to try light drugs for the first time, and then everything was as usual. Addiction, a constant need for money, and attempts to get it at any cost made him a criminal. That's how Arthur went from a promising young man into a robber and ended up in prison. It would seem a meeting of two classmates is a great excuse to remember childhood, but the realities were very different. Judge Mendy asked Arthur if he realized what he was doing was wrong and if he agreed with the charges, to which the defendant confessed to breaking the law and knowing his guilt. All the while, Arthur was afraid to raise his head and stood with his eyes downcast. But this touching meeting ended in a reality check when the judge set bail at $43,000 or 1 year in jail. She also had some parting words to say to him. "Mr. Booth, I really hope you can turn your life around. It really hurts me to see you here. I have the best memories of you. Just think about what I told you. It's up to you to change things. Good luck to you, sir. I hope you were able to come out of this okay and just lead a lawful life." But as you can imagine, the story doesn't end there. As it would later turn out, Mendy's words had touched Arthur to the core. 10 months later, Arthur was released for good behavior. All the while in prison, he read books and was interested in business. Since he had already lost his dream once, which was to become a surgeon, he decided to start all over again after his release. Ex-convict Arthur and Judge Mendy met again. Arthur came to the courtroom and wanted to personally thank her for the words she had sent to him at the time. He promised her he would never be in prison again and would give up gambling and drugs. He kept his word. It has been nearly 5 years since then, and Arthur has thrived as a successful manager in a pharmaceutical company. He enjoys financial stability, allowing him to indulge in life's pleasures. Arthur has overcome his past addictions, undergoing treatment and steadfastly avoiding any relapse. He maintains a close relationship with his former classmate, grateful for the chance encounter that changed his life. Arthur acknowledges that Mendy's words in the courtroom were pivotal, motivating him to make positive life choices. This meeting of classmates highlights the profound impact of personal decisions on shaping one's future, reinforcing the notion that our choices define our path in life. What do you think this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.